We can look at something called a hiatal hernia. The cross, did I say the right thing? Yeah, I did say the right thing. The esophagus is what this the crura are wrapping around. And does anyone here had experience?
Yeah.
Had experience with hiatal hernias? What I found, having had one, was that when the diaphragm is expanding, the diaphragm is a dome. It's not that this goes flat. When we inhale, it lowers. It lowers because there's, well, it can lower for a lot of reasons, but when you widen the base, widening is the right way, expand the base, it's going to draw this down. It's not going to do that, it's just going to draw it down. So when we were coughing or doing this fluttering, it's about strengthening that widening. We did it earlier with the xiphoid coming forward. We did that last month. The importance, there are two attachments to the xiphoid, one on each side, right side, left side, in the back of it, that if you inhale and you're pulling in, it's called reverse action of the diaphragm. So you want to go out on the inhale. You want to go out on all of the attachments. And then you just release them. So that breathing is not a big struggle. It's this widening, it's again this pumping action. Now, if you have a hiatal hernia, you don't might even know you have it. I couldn't breathe deeply because it would be painful. And the reason that I discovered it was painful was because when my diaphragm was moving out on inhalation, this is the esophagus, this was opening. The part of the diaphragm that is doing this action to go into the crura wasn't maintaining its contact with the esophagus, and it was opening, and that was causing pain. And a very serious one is that the stomach can begin to come up into the thoracic cavity. That's a very serious one. So what I found that I needed to do, and I could probably still do it, and you hear the difference, listen, I just did it. Did you hear my voice change?
Yeah.
That I consciously brought my attention to my diaphragm around the esophagus, and when I inhale, which is when I have resistance against this center place, I use that resistance. I don't like to do it for some reason, but it feels good. That I feel that expansion and I go like this against it. It doesn't have a name.
Oh.
Inside there's a cardiac sphincter, which has to do more with inside of the digestive tract.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually the diaphragm around the esophagus. And so how do you distinguish the diaphragm from doing something else here? It's all a practice. And even though I discovered this back in the 60s, I could still make a difference now, right? It's a practice.
Can you explain that again, Bonnie? So there's like a diaphragm around the esophagus.
I would call it a sphincter, even though it's not a sphincter as such, but it has to be some circular
Well, it's right here, it
muscle.
says the muscular esophageal opening.
Okay, so it's called the muscular esophageal opening. It's a lot of words.
And it's right where the crura crosses.
Right. Right. But I'm just calling it a sphincter for now, just because there's a circular action. Maybe it's not like, doesn't look different from the naked eye or something. But go like this, go like this. Or maybe go like this, go around your wrist. So when you cough, but you don't have to really cough, but get that counter tension between your vocal diaphragm closing and you're pushing down on your thoracic diaphragm. Find something, we're not doing it now, but later take water, unless you have water, if you have water, take a little sip, and if it's cold water or hot water, it's easier because you can feel the change of temperature going down to your stomach. If you do a big swallow, you can't feel as much as if you do a little swallow. And so you keep doing that until you feel where your esophagus enters here, into your stomach. Then you go, and you find that place, and your voice will tell you that you've increased the esophageal opening of the diaphragm. And you don't do it a lot. You know, it's weak. You haven't been doing it. So it's like you don't start lifting weights. You treat it kindly and gently and a little bit throughout the day. When you think about it, you do it. And before you know it, you'll find you take really, we're going to spend the whole week, 3 days, on breathing. It gets longer easily without effort. But we're doing a lot to get to effortlessness, right?
But aren't you contracting that area a little bit? You're saying you're closing it in towards the esophagus.
You're using different fibers of the diaphragm that are just going around. You could also put, it doesn't matter which hand. It actually does matter because you've got things coming from the right and from the left. So do it holding one wrist and then do it holding the other, and you're going to feel different. Or sometimes I use my, whatever, maybe it's that size, I don't know. It's there that you can identify where your esophagus is, where your what your diaphragm feels like, and then you go like that. I'm just saying it's practice. It's a practice of consciousness. And then when you find it, it will maintain itself. I don't think about it anymore because I don't have pain, I can breathe, long breaths. So I don't think about it. The hiatal hernia is where you're too lax. It's a low tone.
Right.
And when you inhale, it gets worse because your diaphragm is pulling away from that place. And your exhale, it's coming back into that place. So you have to find the counter tension between this, around the esophagus, as you have the counter. But the resistance is helpful. Like if you come up for just a second, so if I say, I want you to feel how you can pull, how you can do this with your arm, something like that, okay? Okay, go. 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 You see how she's getting more and more sensitive? I'm not going to go. Go, do it again. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I just want you to feel a little bit go. Oh, no, that didn't work. Go. 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 There. I'm wanting her to get a little bit, I want you to get a little bit of go. A little bit of a before you go. There you go. Rather than that you're just going like this, would you feel a little bit,
Yeah.
but not, So resistance is really great if we can dialogue with that. It's not over-resistant. So that inhale is resistant. That's the place to feel that, because on the exhale it's coming in the direction of. So you're not going to get the feedback.